right. Good day to everyone and welcome to our event. Today we talk about Gen AI, Oracle Generative AI services in Oracle Apex. My name is Violeta. Today I'm happy to be joined by Monica, Roxana, and Cristina, who will be your speakers for this event. Ladies, would you like to say hello to the audience?
Of course. Thank you, Violeta, and thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Monica Godoy. I'm Senior Principal Product Manager for Oracle Apex. I am in Spain, Malaga. So with that, maybe Roxana and Cristina would like to introduce now.
Of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Roxana Popa. I'm a Principal Data Development Specialist at Oracle, and welcome you all today. Please.
And hello all, I'm Cristina. I'm Data Development Specialist. I am big enthusiast of data science, so I hope that you enjoy the session.
Thank you. So let's move ahead with the event. So before we actually start the session, I would like to mention some of the housekeeping rules for this call. As you could see, the session is recorded. Will be shared with you in the thank you email that you will get in approximately 2 days from now. And tomorrow will be as well live on the Oracle Developers Cloud Coaching, the Oracle Developers playlist available on YouTube. So once it will be there, we will post it as well on our public Slack community. More about that in just a few seconds. Today you have 3 ways to interact with us, and I know there is a lot of people joining us today. So keep in mind that if we cannot answer all of your questions, we will follow up with you on Slack or via email later on. We'll try to answer as many as we can, of course. You have, so for questions, you have Q&A, which is public. So please keep that in mind and not share any private information there. Then there is the chat button as a private option to talk to us today, and the public Slack community as a way to interact with us during the call and also after the event. We post all the recordings of our developer coaching sessions on a page, namely Developer Coaching on Demand. We will share all those useful resources links with you later on chat and on Q&A, because for some of you, the copy functionality does not work on chat, so we'll try to post them in both places. So, as I said, there is a public Slack community, namely OCI Tech, and we would like to invite you to join us there. How you can do that, it's really, really simple. You will see a link coming from my colleague Tom on chat. Thanks, Tom, for sharing the link. So you can access the link and then sign in with your Oracle account. Of course, for that, you need to bring to your hands your SSO and your Oracle email address. And then by default, you land into this developer coaching events channel. And if I'm not wrong, into the general and ask me about free tier channels. So by default, you will be there. But in case you'd like to search for other ongoing initiatives that we run, feel free to check the workspace and join us in as many channels you would like to. Today we offer the possibility to get more on our cloud credits. So you will get $500 in free credits to test for a 30-day period time. The cloud free tier promo link will be shared in the thank you email that you will get, as I said, in approximately 2 days from now. So what you will need to be aware of is that to get this promo, you need to use the same email when you do the sign-in process. So use the same email that you used to register for this event. Of course, otherwise it will not work for you. So feel free to take this advantage and test our OCI services. And of course, any feedback coming from you is greatly appreciated. And in case you would not see the promo banner after you do the sign-up process, feel free to come back to us on Slack and we will be happy to help you. Regarding the demos, we have built for this event. Keep in mind that all the examples we showcased today were created for, are purely fictive, and of course were created for showcasing purposes only. So they are not touching any of the real use cases where we are working on. All right, I think that was all on my side. Tina, over to you.
Okay, over to me. Let's start. So let me share my screen. We are jumping to the presentation. And you see? I hope everything is clear.
Yes, all good?
Okay, perfect. So today we will start with a short presentation talking a bit about what are LLMs, data science, a bit all the terms that we are going to use in our application into Apex. So let's start first with it before we jump into the demo, where this is a safe harbor statement, as we have to put it usually. So thank you, Violeta, so much for the introduction. Let's dive now into the exciting world of large language models. So here's a quick overview of what we are going to cover today. We are going to start introducing what are the large language models or LLMs and why fine-tuning are very important for and beneficial to start creating our applications. Next, we will work through the fine-tuning process and how OpenAI's GPT model is working, as we were selecting OpenAI GPT, but of course you can use other providers in AI. And then we will focus on building the application in Apex, including a look on the architecture behind it. So finally, we will wrap up with the hands-on demo where we are creating the AI assistant application using Apex and our fine-tune model. So let's go first with LLMs, a bit of theory and fine-tuning for discussing how this technique enhances the capability to address our specific use case. So a large language model is a type of artificial intelligence which is basically designed to understand and generate the natural language, which is human language. When we talk about large, we are referring to the massive amount of parameters or weights that the model is using. So these parameters are learned during training in vast data sets. So at the end, the LLMs are a deep learning technique that they are called transformers, which enables them to process and generate the language, focusing on relationships between words or tokens across the large sequence of text. So we have some key capabilities of LLMs, as you can see here in the icons in the images. First is the natural language understanding, because the LLMs can understand by analyzing patterns as structures in the language. They are very good understanding the context, identifying the meaning of phrases, of sentences, and following flow on the conversation. Then we have here the generating the human-like text, because they can generate coherent, contextually appropriate responses in natural language, making them, of course, useful for chatbots, text completion, and content generation. We have also the option of text classification and sentiment analysis, because we can categorize text into predefined categories or detect emotions like positive, negative, neutral in sentences. And we have also the translation and the summarization, because you know that we can translate between languages, summarize long text into concise versions, and we can always retain the key information. So for example, today we will see that you can, for example, summarize Oracle Apex documentation into some user-friendly content. So why fine-tuning an LLM? Fine-tuning is basically the process of taking a pre-trained language model like GPT and adapting it for specific tasks or industries by training it further on a smaller domain-specific dataset. So while the model is already well-trained on general data like books, websites, fine-tuning, what is allowing us is to focus on specialized tasks by exposing it to the relevant data. This process is very important for 3 reasons. First, because it enables the model to handle specialized tasks more effectively. For example, a customer service chatbot designed for a specific industry like finance or legal always needs to understand the unique words and nuances of that field. So with fine-tuning, you can help to improve the performance in this highly specialized context. Second, the fine-tuning also allows to create custom response that align with the tone, the style, the communication standards of the organization. So you will always have better response, and we will reflect better this brand's personality. And finally, also it's improving the domain-specific accuracy, because usually the pre-trained models, as we are using ChatGPT in a general way, can struggle with accuracy in specialized fields because they weren't exposed to enough data for those domains during the initial training. So with fine-tuning, in summary, we can teach the model to better understand and prioritize these specific terms, phrases, or concepts. So why fine-tune GPT for Oracle Apex? Why this use case? So here we are addressing why is doing that. Apex, you know, that is a specialized domain, and general purpose models like GPT sometimes can struggle with a specific terminology. In my case, I'm working usually with Apex. I'm having questions about different purposes of the development in my applications, and sometimes it's not very updated. So with the fine-tuning, with the documentation and other information that we want to provide to the generic model, we can make it more context-aware. So we can make better handle technical queries with more precision. We can get more relevant and accurate responses, always better compared to a generic model. So at the end, what it's doing is to bridge the gap between the general AI capabilities and the specialized domain expertise. So here I wanted to show you a bit in a summary how is the fine-tuning process. For us, it involves different structure and iterative process designed to create our AI assistant. We just began gathering all the relevant data, including the latest documentation, some guides, some articles about Apex 24.1. Then the data is cleaned to be able to remove the formatting issues, the duplications, and other necessary content. The next step is to convert this data into a JSON format that is required for the fine-tuning. So each entry is consisting of a question and an answer, like a pair, that is covering diverse topics such as new features, technical configurations, best practices, and setup steps. Later, I will show you how it looks like and how we were extracting the questions or the information from the document. Then, using the fine-tuning API hosted on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, the training process was executed. The parameters like the learning rate and the epochs were fine-tuned to achieve optimal results. And the API processed the JSON data and iteratively improved the model. And during this phase, the model response were monitored and adjusted for refining the training process further. So when the fine-tune was complete, the model was tested. So we were comparing against the base model using some more specific queries to check these improvements in accuracy and relevance. So additionally, a part of the documentation, you can always set new questions and new pairs to ensure that the model generalized well with the other related queries. And then based on the results, we were doing some tweaks to make the training data and the process to be able to rerun the necessary trainings to enhance the performance. And then the final outcome, what we find is the fine-tuned AI assistant with our Apex 24.1 expertise. So just for making a bit more of context, how specifically GPT is predicting the responses, mainly it's following 3 steps. So the first thing is GPT, what it's doing is to break the text into smaller pieces that are called tokens, and then predicts the next token, which is a word or subword in a sequence based on the input that it's receiving. Then GPT models are pre-trained on a vast amount of data that can be books, websites, as we were saying. And after the pre-training, the model can be fine-tuned on the specific task. Then GPT is generating the response by predicting the next token in a sequence based on the context of the previous tokens. So this process is repeated to form a coherent sentence or paragraph. So as GPT is generating the text, what it's doing is using the self-attention mechanism to focus on only important parts of the input. So we are ensuring that the context is always maintained through the generation process. So for example, if you ask GPT a question, what it's doing is analyzing the input, identifying relevant information based on its pre-training and any fine-tuning, and it's generating the most likely response based on its internal knowledge. So now, after this introduction to the AI, I would like to pass the voice to Monica. So she's going to present a bit the new AI capabilities that we have inside Apex that will help you a lot to create applications. So.
Thank you, Cristina. Thank you. All right, so let me give you a quick overview about what is Apex. Apex is the most popular enterprise low-code application platform. It enables you to build scalable and secure enterprise applications with world-class features 20 times faster and 100 times less code. So this year, on June 17, we released Apex 24.1, and you can go to apex.oracle.com to learn more about Apex and other features available in this release. But now let's talk about the AI capabilities in Apex 24.1. Right? So in order for you to get started to use these capabilities in Apex, you need to create your generative AI service. So this is available in the workspace utilities, and these services offer an abstraction of the popular commercial generative AI products, for example, OCI, GenAI, OpenAI, Cohere, and others. So you can select your preferred provider, and then you can enter the credentials. So you can create applications, you can interact with the Apex AI assistant, and of course, with the PLSQL API, right? So you can enable or disable this service on the instance or at the workspace level. So now let's see how you can leverage these services in Apex. All right. So you can, in the app builder, actually, you will find a new way to create applications by using natural language to describe the application that you would like to create. So, for example, you can see here in the screenshot an example of this. You can open the Apex AI Assistant. It will send you the welcome message right there. And you can describe the application. Also, you can include the name of the tables that you would like to use for this application. And the Apex AI Assistant will leverage the Apex Dictionary cache to identify the relevant tables that you will use for this application. So you can enter something like build an application on project task, project status, the name of the table that you have on your schema, right? And then also you can say something like what type of pages you would like to use, you would like to see here in your application. So you can say include pages for smart filters, classy report, a chart, or an interactive report, right? So after that, the Apex AI Assistant will generate an application blueprint based on the prompt, okay, based on that instruction that you just gave. And then you will get the reply from the Apex AI Assistant that will create an application, in this case called Project Management Suite, but of course, you can change the name of the application in the next step. It will also list the pages. Oh, can you go back, Cristina? It will also list the pages that you are going to add or you are going to have in this application, and will also enable two features for you. The availability to install this application as a progressive web app, and also to send the push notification to the device of the user, right? At this point, if you are ready to create the application, you just hit the button, create application, or you can keep iterating with the assistant to add more instructions to create your application. All right, and also the Apex AI Assistant is available in any code editor across Apex, and it will help you to generate, optimize, explain, or debug SQL queries that you might have. And also if you have questions or you need help with your HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or PLSQL code that you might have, you can ask questions about that code as well, right? Also, there are two things here in the code editor, the query builder and the general assistance. So you can switch between them if you want to generate a query, an SQL query, or you can switch to general assistance if you have questions, general questions about the development in Apex. Okay? And also, there is a new native dynamic action available in Apex, which opens an AI chat user interface. So this will enable the end users to converse with their applications in natural language through out-of-the-box conversational interface that developers can easily add to their applications. And they don't need to enter a single line of code in order to use this type of interface. You can render this interface as inline or as a dialog, and also you can configure the system prompt that you would like to use for the interface and the welcome message. And with that, I will pass the microphone now to Roxana.
Thank you, Monica. So now that we have seen how to fine-tune a model and what are the features related to AI that were introduced in Oracle Apex 24.1, we can go ahead and start building the application in Oracle Apex. So we need an application for our end users to ask their questions and get their answers. This is where Apex makes a difference. So you may wonder, why is Apex suited for this task? There are several reasons why. First of all, as Monica said, Apex is a low-code application platform that helps us to rapidly build applications. We don't want to invest too much time or write too much code. So this is why Apex is the perfect solution for it. Also, we already explained the AI features that were introduced in 24.1 with features such as AI Assistant that is already there for us to help us with writing the code, with the dynamic components and all the interactive things that we have in Apex. It will make the development process much faster and much easier. We may also want flexibility when it comes to customizing the UI, and Apex provides the flexible design options for creating the chat interfaces, making it ideal to build this kind of chat experience that we want to provide to our users. And well, last but not least, this is an important point. Apex provides seamless API integration. It has built-in support for RESTful web services, which will allow an easy integration with external AI models such as OpenAI that we are going to use today for our application. Okay, there are several components when it comes to build an application. So first of all, an application consists of Apex pages. We have several user-friendly region types that can be added to a page in Oracle Apex. We have different types of forms, reports, charts, calendars, and so on. On top of this, we provide wizards for almost everything in Apex, so it will make the experience really easy. It has also a fully responsive design that will adapt for each screen size, and it will run on any device. So we don't need to do any changes. We can run the same application on mobile and the laptop, and it will adjust automatically out of the box. Then the session management is done using Apex Collection. If go back, please. Okay, thank you. So if you are not familiar with Apex Collection, we use collections to store data in the session state, so we can access it, manipulate it, and process it throughout the user-specific session. Then once we have the interface ready, we can move to the next component, which is integrating with the API calls for the fine-tune model. And for this, we leverage Oracle's ability to make API calls. Then when we do the API calls, we are using PL/SQL and also JavaScript to handle the real-time user interactions without the need to reload the page. And the last component is about displaying the responses dynamically in real time. So you ask the question, you get the answers, and for this we are using dynamic actions. Now, few words about the architecture overview. You can see on the slide how the application looks like. Of course, during the demo, we will connect and show you the application. The user interface is designed using HTML and CSS to build these nice bubble messages, buttons. You can see we also have a welcome message that you can set and customize. And the input field is the box that you see on the bottom of the page where the users will enter the questions. Once the user submits a question, it will trigger the API call and it will get instantly a response back. Here it's a bit of the backend part, what happens behind the scenes. And you can see that we are using PL/SQL to call the RESTful services, to invoke the fine-tune OpenAI model. We are doing the authentication in the more secure way, so we don't expose any sensitive information. And then we parse the response from the model and pass it back to the user. Okay, and as I mentioned, we are using Apex collections to store both the questions and answers and also manage the chat history at the session level. We store the parsed response in collection, so we return to the user only the relevant information, not the entire JSON that we get back from the model. Okay. Well, I think it's enough with the theory because I'm pretty sure you all want to see our demo today. So before jumping into the demo, just to do a short recap, if we combine a local platform like Apex with OpenAI, we will be able to create powerful and tailored solution. We've seen that flexibility and power are key features of Apex. We leverage features such as dynamic actions, collections, RESTful services to integrate with AI. So what's next for us? Using this combination of Apex and AI will open up a lot of new opportunities for us so we can start building smart applications for our users. Now it's finally time for the demo. So Cristina, do you want to share?
I will start sharing a bit the first part of the fine-tuning process. So let me share again my screen. I'm changing that. Let me know if you can see the notebook.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. So here I just wanted to make a short introduction to how we were making the fine-tuning, all the process in our data science notebook. In this case, now we are using the data science service that we have in OCI, but of course you can run it locally in your machine. At the end, it's just running a very simple Python code in 3 simple steps. So the good thing is that as we are using the API from OpenAI, you can run it and call it in any place where you have a bit of power. So the notebook is divided in 3 steps. We have in one part the data preparation. This is something that we will share with you later. That's no worries about that. In the article, everything is explained. Then we have the fine-tuning process, and we are explaining how we were calling the API. And the last steps is to test the model. So in the first part, let's go a bit deep into the code. So what we are doing here is just the data preparation. Let's say that this is a very important step because we are preparing the data set that the model is going to learn from.
So the process is involving the three main tests, which is extracting the text from the PDF file, structuring it into the JSON format suitable for fine-tuning, and then adding the predefined examples to enhance the dataset's quality and diversity. So you can see here we have just two small functions. The first one is just for extracting the text using or PDF library for extracting the lines. And then we are structuring the text line by line from the fine-tuning. In that case, OpenAI is using this pair structure where you put first the question and then the answer. These are additional lines that we were adding just for making sure that it's learning properly. But of course, what you will have as an output when you are doing all this structure of the extraction of the lines of the text is something like that. In that case, we have 2,100 examples, because this is an example we are using in a documentation, the documentation that we are using. And of course, these are not usually enough. This is just a small example for this demo. You usually will need much more examples for making the model learn faster and better. So you can see here, this is the documentation, extracting automatically all the messages that you can do with this function. It's very big, but as I was saying, probably you will need more for making it learn better. Sorry, this is very big. I wanted just to show you the output. Yeah, so then once that we have the data ready, which the model is going to train with, we were doing as well some data analysis. We were using specifically the token library. So this is the second step, and is important because we are ensuring that the dataset is clean, that is valid, and it's ready for the training. So we have three steps, which is loading the JSON file, then validating the format, and then analyzing the token statistics to know more or less how much it's going to cost us to train the model. So here in this first cell, you can see that we are more or less just counting the examples and that everything is running without any error, and it's ready for using for starting the fine-tuning. So you can see that we have some analysis, and we have here no errors found. Then we also were doing some format validation for checking that all the messages are correct and all the tokens. So here what we are doing is to focus on checking that this dataset has the common formatting to ensure that it's fully compliant, basically. So just checking that all the messages has the role and the content and is present in each entry for avoiding that there are some mistakes. And also here we have the function for counting with the token, how many tokens do we have. So again, we have 2,000 examples. Then we are analyzing a bit the distribution of all the tokens. And at the end, after doing all the analysis, you will see, well, in that case, we have that the dataset, it has 71,000 tokens, more or less, that will be charged during the training. And by default, you will be charged by 213,000 tokens. You see that it's a lot. This is not a lot, but the more than you have, you will have better model. And depending on how many tokens, then the call to the API will be, the training itself could be expensive. So this analysis is nice to understanding how much are you going to spend in this process. Later I will show you, because OpenAI has a very nice UI where you can check all the billing and also how is the process of the fine-tuning. So once that everything is correct and you have the data ready, you need to go to the fine-tuning process. This is very, very simple. You just need to use your API key and then create the response for saying the purpose of what do you want to do with the client, and you will open the file for starting the fine-tuning process. You are here preparing the call itself. So here you see that we are using our JSON file and we are using our API key. Of course, here it's working not because it's your API key. I was putting my original one, but you can put the one that is working for you. And then, well, here we have some small functions that you can check what are the models list that OpenAI is providing. So now that we have ready the fine-tuning, we start the job itself. So this is the most important. This is where everything is starting. So you just need to call to the function create. You are using the file ID that comes from the response that we were previously preparing with the file that we are introducing with the JSON file. And then what we are doing here is to select one model that you can check into the documentation of OpenAI. We are using the 4.0. This is the latest one, if I am not wrong. And then you introduce different hyperparameters. This is a very simple version where we were just selecting the batch size. So this is how many examples do you want to provide on each iteration of the learning process. We were also specifying the learning rate multiplier. It can be bigger or smaller depending on your needs. And then the number of epochs that you want that your model is training. The bigger epochs, the more epochs that you have, then will be training more time and of course will be costing a bit more. And then here you put just the name of your model for later being able to recognize it when you are testing it. So when it starts the fine-tune job, well, you have some information here. It's very nice because you are receiving automatically an email. I can show you here, for example, this one is an email that I was receiving when it was failing. So here directly you can go to the page where you can trigger and see everything how it's working. So this one was failing, so you can see the information on why it was failing in that case. But here, for example, I have different training of the models. I go to one random one, and you can see the information probably, well, the training loss here is very, very bad, but this one was working fine. It starts, you can see in real time if it's analyzing the data, how many tokens were training. You can see here the information of the job of the fine-tuning, and then you can see how it's learning your model. And then it finishes, and when it finishes, the model is published, so this model is ready for using. And then apart from that, also OpenAI provides you the option to be able to try your model. So here you see we have like a ChatGPT, but this is like the part of the developer. And here you just need to change the model to the one that you were fine-tuning. So here I have the list, all the list of the fine-tuned models that I have that I was showing in the previous page. So you just select this and you start comparing with the data, the model that is basic. And just for finishing our part of this data science notebook, we will go to the testing model. So basically it's just calling to the model that we were fine-tuning. We add a message with this will be the prompt, and then we are going to receive the raw response. So here we was just checking that the API was working fine, that we could do the call and receive the information based on our prompt. So in that case, we were asking about, sorry, he's here. Can you explain JSON Relational Duality in Oracle Apex? And here we are receiving the whole information and the answer itself is here. So you see that we are accessing to our fine-tune model. And this is what we are gonna retrieve and take for making our Apex application. So now I will pass the ball to to Roxana again, and she will show you how to build the Apex application.
Thank you. Let me share my screen number 2. Okay, so can you see the Apex application?
Yes.
Yes, perfectly. So this is how our AI assistant, custom AI assistant looks like. So you can see here we have a welcome message that we've set before. So the user can have a first interaction when they log in into the application. And here is the box that I was mentioning during the presentation where we can type our question. So, for example, I can ask anything about Oracle Apex from the documents that Cristina used for the fine-tuning process. So I can ask, for example, things like, how does Apex 24.1 improve workflows? I can either hit enter or press the send button, and my question will trigger the API call to the AI model, and I will get the answer instantly without the need to refresh the screen. Sorry. I can also ask something else, like let me better copy paste so I don't waste time on the questions. So maybe I want to see how to use JSON Relational Duality views in Apex, so I can also ask this, and I will wait for the answer. Now, you see, I have access to the chat history, and because the conversation doesn't fit in one page, the scroll bar was added dynamically. Now, let's see how this was done. I will connect to my page designer. My session expired. Okay, so it's page number 6. Let me open the page. So let's see how we created this application. We have this chat area from here. This is based on a classic report, and as I mentioned, we are using collections. So the first step when we create this type of application is to initialize the collection. And we do this before header. So before starting everything on the page, we set up the collection. We have tables where we store different settings, such as welcome message, and you can customize it as you need. Then we give a name to the collection, and we once we define our collection, we add the first member. The first member will be our welcome message. You see, I have several attributes here. So we save things like the user, so who asked the question and who answered the question. This is something custom, so we chose to put chatbot. The chatbot will be the owner, and then here it will be the message. In this case, it will be the welcome message. Then let's see what happens. We have the settings area where we store all the items of the page. Most of them are hidden. The important one, the one that we use a lot, is the item that stores the message. This one, where we enter the question that we want. As we mentioned, we are using dynamic actions to define what happens when a user, after writing the query, what happens when they press enter or when they click on send. And for this, we are using dynamic actions. When they press enter, we will trigger our button. The button is this one, is the send button. And again, this is based on dynamic actions. So, for example, when we first click on the send button, we will do as a first step, we will add a new member to the collection. The new member will be the question that the end user asked. So we see for this property here, we will introduce the app user. This is the variable that holds the user that is connected to the application. Okay, and we also add the message that he sent, because we want to store in the collection not only the answers but also the questions. Okay, so what's next? We first save the question in the collection, then we make sure that we reset the value of the parameter that holds the question and enable it, and then we do a refresh of the chat region. The chat region is based again on the collection. And after that, we do the API call. We have here some parameters like the URL. This is specific to OpenAI. This will change depends on the AI providers that you choose to use. Then we need to set some headers, because the response it will be in JSON format. We need to set these two headers. And then we start building the message body. And here we give as parameters the fine-tune model that Cristina prepared. The messages, we have two roles, the system, which is instructed to be an Apex assistant, and the end user, which will send the messages, the questions. And then finally, it's time to leverage what Apex offers. And we have this built-in procedure, Apex Web Service, make REST request, that will call the REST endpoint. We give as parameters the URL, the method, which is post, the body that we constructed here, depending on the message that the user entered, and here is how we pass the credentials. And I will show you in a minute how to configure also the credentials. What else? We get the answer, and then again we are using built-in functions to parse the answer, and then we keep only the part that is useful for our end users. And once we have the clean answer, then we add it to the collection. The last step, of course, it will be to refresh the region again, so the user will see also the answer. Now, let me go back here. I want to show you something else. This is one example of using AI services in Oracle Apex, but we also have the integration that Monica mentioned. So we have this Apex assistant here that can help us with improving the code, generating the code, write queries, and so on. So if there is a part of the code that we don't understand or we want to improve, we can easily select it. I press here on new selection, and either I ask something in natural language or I can use what I have here. So for example, maybe I have problems in understanding the code, so I asked Apex Assistant to help me and explain the code. And you see, I get a clear answer with a lot of explanations here that helps me understand why I need to pass different parameters and so on. Maybe I get an error about the credentials, for example, so I can ask it something like this: where can I change the credentials? And it will have the context, and it will help me go to the share components under the security web credentials, and it will help me change the credentials. And this is pretty much it. We also added some CSS to our page to have the nice buttons. So if we select the page in the inline here, we can see all the HTML and CSS that we have used to have these bubbles messages here. So we can see how to move icons close to the bubbles, how to add bubble styling for the chat messages, and so on. How to put the user, the questions that are coming from users in the left-hand side and the answers from the chatbot in the right-hand side. So this is something pretty easy. The last part that I want to show is where to configure the credentials. So we go here to Application Builder, Workspace Utilities, and here we will have the web credentials. Let's click on Create. So here we give some basic information about our web credentials. We choose the authentication type, and then this credential will be identified by a static ID, the one that we used in our code. Okay, well, this is what we wanted to show you today. I hope you find it interesting, and if you still have questions, we are here for you. Violeta, back to you.
Thank you. So there is a wall of questions, by the way. Maybe we can try and answer some of them, as we still have got 9 minutes left. Sources part. So give me 1 second to share my screen. I hope that you can see my screen.
Yep.
All right. Perfect. So one thing, for the questions that we could not cover today, we will try to follow up with you on Slack. So don't worry that you haven't got your answer in this call. We will try to answer them all on Slack later on these days. Yes.
Violetta, go back in full screen mode.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Okay, so a lot of you have asked for the code that the ladies today showcase. So there is these 2 articles that have all the guidelines and all the steps that you need to follow. You have the articles on chat and on Q&A. If you'd like to copy, feel free to check the first question that Tom opened on Q&A, and they will be also part of this presentation that we will share later on Slack. And if you would like to join us for a private call to talk more about this specific use case with our speakers today, we will post something on the channel as we speak. We will post a message there, and the first people who will reply to it will get some emails from us, and we will try to put you in contact with Roxana, Monica, and Cristina, and then you can talk more about this use case. The call is only a 20 minutes call. We only have 2 to offer, and it is not replacing any of the current workload discussions that you might have, nor a support call. So it will be only regarding the demos and the topic we covered in the event. So I will post it in a few seconds. I will post the message, and then you can respond to it. Regarding upcoming events, there are 2 pages where you can go to check what next in the pipeline. Next week we will talk about migrations to autonomous database using AI. So if you'd like to hear more about this topic, feel free to go either to the developer coaching events page or to the Oracle for Developers portal, where you can find also information regarding our sessions. Then the December events will be soon published on the page, and you can register for those if you like, of course. There is a page that I think most of you should be interested in learning about. There is this AI Solutions Hub portal where you can go and check a lot of materials, demos, getting started path, and source code for a lot of tutorials that we've shared there. So feel free to check Oracle AI Solutions Hub page. You have the link on chat, and also feel free to scan now the QR code if you'd like to open it as we speak. Here is a new My Oracle support platform, which is live now. So I think most of you have got the email notification with this information. So feel free to go and check this portal and familiarize yourself with the look and feel, the new look and feel. Here is another slide with a lot of resources, materials that are available for you to check. I will not take you through all of these. You will get, as I said, a copy of this file will be shared in the thank you email, so you will get it soon, and also, of course, on Slack. So let me take the opportunity to share now on Slack. So I just posted on our public Slack developer coaching events channel a message which says that the boost calls are now open for you to register. So feel free to go there and reply to the message, and myself or Tom will contact you later on and will propose a slot to book and discuss with Roxana and Cristina. Ladies, anything you'd like to add today? I know that there was a wall of questions, and there is some that we did not cover. So for those of you whom we could not respond, we will try to do it later. Many thanks for joining us, so many of you in this call, and for the questions, the very, very good questions that you posted. We hope that you enjoyed the session, that you learned from it. and that you will come back for upcoming events. Monica, Cristina, Roxana, anything you'd like to say before we close?
I would like to say something that since we have a lot of questions here, some of the questions are related to Apex. You can go to the forum. I will put the link on the chat, so you can post that question on the forum and we can help you better, right? And thank you everyone for joining us.
Perfect.
As Violeta was saying, we have the articles ready. And in case that you have any doubt with the code or whatever, you can always contact us via LinkedIn or
on Slack and on public Slack. An easy way to reach out to us is also the Slack workspace. Okay, thanks a lot for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon, and we hope to see you soon in the developer coaching events. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.